Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1. We're getting there.
We're getting there. We say that
slowly, surely.
We say that all the time. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah,
we'll get there. It's progress.
I'm not sure how long we can keep saying that before.
We're never going to actually get there. That's like the joke, but we're getting there.
Oh, that's right. Oh, look at that. She's the writer. If you guys are listening or watching, your eyes and or ears don't deceive you. That is the voice of Ginger Spice, my co-host.
Back.
Still.
I'm back by popular demand. I'm here. Everyone asked for me. Everyone was wondering where I was. I'm back.
Let's be honest. I don't know if there's anything popular about this podcast. Our downloads definitely don't reflect it.
Well, someone's listening.
Some people are listening. Nicole's listening. Your friend Nicole, my brother, he listens. He also mentioned when he co-hosted one of these last episodes, he made a joke about you still owing him lunch.
That's true.
And I told him, don't hold your breath.
Because I never remember what I say on these shows. So it comes back to bite me in the butt when I make promises to our guests and I say, if you do this, I'll do that. And then that's always when Jordan messages me and says, all right, where's my da-da-da? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I guess I promised a sandwich or lunch or something and I don't remember, but
it was something. Yeah. It was now. But she put no price limit on it. She didn't do anything. She's like, yeah, I'll buy lunch. Like it could have been like at Ruth Chris. She had this was not like one coupon per customer,
I know, right?
On the back, but you're back. Welcome back. People have been concerned, not for you, more for me. There's like, I don't know if he's gonna have to do this alone. It's almost like if you were like if we were the actual married couple that people thought we were for a little while, all these people on the side, like friends and family, are like, you need to leave her. She's horrible to you. She doesn't, she never shows up. And I'm like, no, she'll change. Give her a chance. That's what it feels like these days, where like people are like, Jordan's like, man, should I just be the co-host of this thing? Like, do we just need to make this official? I said, no, Deb will come back, I think. I also made the joke last time when he was on the podcast. Dave Chappelle, my favorite comedian, one of his specials, he was talking about like how back in the day, like dads would, instead of getting divorced, dads would just go to the liquor store for cigarettes and then just not come back. I'm like, I think Deb went for cigarettes and just just bounced.
That's what you texted me. You're like, I thought you were giving me the old Irish exit. You're like, where? Yeah. I didn't.
Well, what's funny?
You're coming back.
Well, it's funny because I didn't really think about it until when we were coordinating this one. You're like, man, I feel like we haven't recorded together forever. I'm like, okay. And then I looked at it, I'm like, oh yeah, it is actually almost a month. I didn't realize how long it had been. So it's like, oh yeah, you really could have just taken off. But like you text me, it's summer break. You're enjoying the summer. So
summer vacay, man. I think I did this last summer too. I think I like ghosted on you for like about a good solid month there.
No. Last summer you were a better person, a better friend, because you said, hey, I'm going to be gone for this amount of time. And I knew exactly. And it was weird. Like a responsible human being, you came back when you said you're going to come back. This time it was like the finish line kept changing. You're like, hey, when are we recording? It's like, oh, we're going to record this day. And then some things happened. It was my fault on that one. And then after that, it's like, I don't know if she's coming back. She might just be gone. I don't know. Like I said, is she alive still? I hope so. Because her name's on all the promo stuff. I don't want to go back and change it.
This summer has gone by so fast, and it's been so crazy. I've been working summer school way more than usual. My school district has been more than generous. Excuse me. See, I can't even talk anymore. It's been a while since I've done these shows.
It's been
more than generous.
No podcasting, no teaching. You just haven't. Have you been talking to anybody?
No, that's the thing. I've been teaching all summer. I've been talking to teenagers, right? So, that's one thing. Those poor kids, they get to listen to me. But so I've been teaching all of June, all of July, and I'm going to be done this Friday. It's just the most I've worked this summer, and just coupled with anyway. So the nights that I canceled on you were like no, I have a girls' night that night. I have to do it because I'm not doing anything else this summer. So I got to do it that night.
Hey, I get it. I like to give you a hard time on the podcast, but we've always said, hey, enjoy your summer for sure, because especially after the crazy year you guys had as teachers this past year, like you definitely, teachers definitely deserve, most teachers, there's probably some that don't deserve the summer break. There's probably some that still aren't great teachers, but for the most part, I think teachers are really good. I'm thinking of a couple in particular back from when I was in high school. It's like, yeah, you guys don't deserve high school or summer break. You guys kind of suck. But some people, like I've always said, some people I don't like. You look at them, and I'm sure you have people that you've encountered over your years of teaching. Like some people, I'm like, why did you choose this profession? Like, do you like kids? Do you like the opportunity to impact any people? Do you even like the subject you teach? Like, why are you doing this? Like, I feel like you could do something way different and have a much happier life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I've come across a few. It's like, this is not the right profession for you.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen it too, for sure, both as the student and as a fellow coworker.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sometimes that's me on like a Tuesday. I mean, or a Wednesday at work. Yeah, every once in a while, that's me.
Yeah, well, that's a moment though. I think if you don't have one of those moments, then like I've said this before, like you probably don't care enough. Like if you as a teacher, if you don't get frustrated sometimes, it probably means your heart's not really in it, right? Like you don't care enough to get frustrated, right? That being said, if you don't have we've had enough conversations on and off there where it's like, if you're not passionate about like seeing your students succeed, then you're also probably not in the right profession either. It's the people who is like, you've had a moment all school year, like, or it's like multiple school years, like, hey, maybe you should get out of the game. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's time to hang them up and go pursue something else where you don't have to deal with these people that you hate so much.
Well, and it shows, especially in the teaching profession, no matter what grade you teach or what subject you teach, because it's hard enough dealing with all the things, classroom management, parents, just trying to get everyone to listen, to actually doing the job that we were paid to do, which is teaching it's in and of itself. And so we have all those things. Then if you actually don't like what you're doing, oh my God, I can't even imagine, because I'm not saying this just to say this, but I love what I do. And there are times where I'm like, oh my God, like what else can I do for a living? Like what else? What else can I do? But like you said, moments. So I can't imagine feeling like that all the time in my teaching profession. So definitely, unfortunately, it shows. I think it's way more amplified in the teaching world because you have so many eyes on you and you have to deal with all that. And then it's hard to hide how you're feeling at that point.
Right. And I think it comes out one way or the other. And I think it's impossible to hide whether it's, I feel like it comes out in like a moment of just like frustration where you just kind of like finally lose it, or it's a lack of energy, right? Like if you just have someone that's just not passionate about what they're teaching or not passionate about connecting, like that's obvious too, where it's like, oh, this person is kind of just mailing it in every single day. And like I said, I really believe that. I don't want this to ever sound like it's a teacher bashing thing. Like I believe the majority of teachers are amazing. Like it's an incredibly difficult job, like you said. But I also believe and especially because of some of the stuff I've done where I've, after college and after high school, I've had interaction with different teachers that were doing different things. I just feel like it's such an important job that for me, it's like, if your heart's really not in it and you're just not passionate about it, then I don't think you should be doing it, because I think it's too important. You know what I mean? I think there's certain professions where it's like, if it's, like my wife, my sister, you, like people that I know that are teachers are really passionate about it. Like there's a reason why you guys are doing it and you guys have done it for so long, is because you have a heart for the students. You want to see their lives impacted. If you don't have that, just like I said, everybody will be happier. Like the students will be happier. You'll be happier. Like find something else. It's not a bad thing. It's not like, it's not quitting. It's just realizing, hey, this is not for me. And it's just too important for me to mess around with. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, no, that's why there's a lot of teacher turnover, unfortunately, which is fine. It's like, if it's not for you, then please, by all means, you need to go. But I've heard of, even at my own school site and I'm sure this has happened everywhere else, but teachers just flat out walking out of class and like quitting on the spot. Like, I mean, I don't know how often that happens, to be honest, but it happens. So, and because it's very demanding. It's very, if you don't have the heart for it, or the personality for it, for that matter, then it's very difficult. So
right.
So if there's a high teacher turnover, there's many reasons for it, but hopefully it's because someone didn't realize that that's not the profession for them, and that's good that they realize it and that's when they take their Irish exit, which I am not. Still here in both cases.
Don't do an Irish exit as a teacher. Don't do that. It's like, are we supposed to turn in homework? What happened? Where's Miss Smith? I don't
School's
know
out.
Miss Smith, but yeah, school's out. They're like, it's February. Where'd the teacher go? Yeah. So anyways, but summer wise, you've been enjoying your summer?
Yeah, it's been I've been working a lot, so it's been good. But so I've been fortunate to, when I do summer school, I make extra money on the side. See what I did there?
Hey.
So segue. So it's been good. So I feel very blessed. I feel very fortunate, and it would be very easy for me to complain and say I didn't get a summer, but I chose to work. And so I'm very happy for it. I do get 2 weeks off though. Hey, I'm excited about that. So Friday's my last day. Which is honestly for me, right. And for me, I'm honestly, that goes in my awkward shooting guns. Yeah. For me, it's 2 weeks is enough. I'm very active. I can't hold still. 2 weeks is plenty. It's like Christmas break. That's plenty of time. But every teacher needs to recharge. Yeah. Oh my God, we need to recharge. So it'll be needed. So it'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And speak, I just want to point this out as well, especially if you're not listening, or if you're only listening and not watching. Deb finally decided to put her mic down. All of these years let me take it back. Not all these years, but since doing the Zoom thing, Deb has been holding her microphone in her hand. Now, if anybody else out there is a podcaster, this is incredibly annoying. So that being said, and also, as some people have mentioned to us, as a viewer, it's also very weird because you see this floating mic just all over the screen. It's distracting. It's not moving today. So like Deb said, as someone who's very active and can't stay still, she finally put down the mic. Look at that. You can see both of her hands.
See my hands. I can take a drink of water. I'm not going to hit the mic with the bottom of my hand, and it's not going to fly and hit my face anymore. It's great. And Nicole will be very happy. Nicole, hope you're listening. That was always her pet peeve. I think I waved it around in front of the camera or the screen one time just to annoy her. But I did find 2 giant Twilight books to stack this on. So thank you, Twilight.
Shout out to Twilight. Yep.
Yes. So that belonged to my friend Christine. Christine listens too. So Christine, these are yours. I need to give them back to you.
Hey,
I think
Christine.
I've had them for 10 years now. Okay.
Thank you, Nicole and Christine, for listening.
Our 2 listeners.
Yeah. And Jordan. Yeah, 3 listeners. 2 for you, 1 for me, and then a bunch of others that, maybe we know a couple other people, Brandon, and maybe a couple others. But, we're still trying to build this thing up. So that being said, if you guys are listeners, please give us a shout out at some point. You don't have to mention whether or not you think it's a good or bad podcast. Just say, hey, here's a podcast. If you're looking for one, here it is. Yeah. So, anyways, and just let them know too that there's occasions where Deb will offer something and then not follow through. So if you're looking forward to that, the guessing game of whether or not Deb will come through with whatever prize she offers, then it's a perfect podcast for you.
Yeah, the answer is probably I won't follow through. So
the answer is 100%. She's not going to follow through. It's like getting a gift card that says valid nowhere. Basically, it's worth $50. Yeah. You can't use it anywhere. That's what her promises are like. So there you go.
No, sorry about that.
It has no. She's not okay. Okay. I feel like her summer break has made her soft. She's not sorry. She's laughing right now. It's like, hey, can I point out too? So Deb's in a new location. Look at that. You got some fancy art behind you, not just a blank wall.
Hey, from at home, $20.
Hey, $20 that she's not going to spend on someone else's lunch, just on the decor of her home. There we go.
Exactly.
$20 though, like $20 cash, like money. Look at that. Yeah. That was a clumsy one, but I wanted to get a segue into.
There you go. Was that your segue?
It was my attempt. Yeah, I wasn't very creative with that one.
There you go. Yeah, it's okay. We'll take it. Let's jump into it then. And then we'll never get to our segue.
Yep, we were wasted a bunch of time, so I'm sorry. Yeah,
we always do.
This is Deb's segment, or not segment. This was your topic idea.
This was my topic. Yeah, because I didn't think about it until recently, and it's only because I've had my own thoughts towards myself about this. But the topic of money, people are weird about money.
Sure.
I don't know. It's like with their own money, watching other people spend their money. Like,
sorry, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yes.
So, and you don't have to give me details, but so what I've noticed sometimes over the years podcasting with you, sometimes when you bring up like an idea like this out of the blue,
yeah,
was there a moment that sparked this thought in you, like a personal thing?
Oh yeah, it's always personal.
Okay, I told Rachel that. I said this came out of the blue. I said I feel like this is something that she just experienced.
Yeah.
I said, we don't need details. I mean, share as much as you want to share, but I'm like, this something. It just felt like one of those things that was so specific. Like if you talk, like if over the years, like if you've brought up something that had to do with like self-worth, I wouldn't have had this thought because that's just something that you're really passionate about talking about, right? Or I'm trying to think of another topic like worth. Some of these different topics that you and I have talked about over the years. That's like, okay, that's just something that like you have a heart for. When you talk about money, I'm like, when have we ever talked about anything close to money? It's like, oh, this must be a personal thing. You know what I mean? So
I know it sounds so trivial and like, self-righteous or whatever, however word you want to call it. But it is, I feel like it's kind of taboo, or people don't talk. I don't know. It's probably not even that important of a topic, or people don't give it a second thought. And what I'm about to talk about, it's probably like, I don't really care. But so like I said, I'm working summer school. I'm working overtime. I'm working overtime beyond overtime. And it's great. It's awesome. Like I said, I'm making more money this summer than usual. And so what I did for myself, and I'm very proud of this, but I kept going back and forth, like I felt guilty, was I finally bought a car.
Hey, congrats.
Hey, I did, for the first time in my life ever. At the ripe old age of 33. I've always had hand-me-downs. In high school, I had a 98 Geo Prism that was my mom's. And then when I went off to college, they gave me my mom's next hand-me-down, which was a 2002 Toyota Corolla. And then when I moved to Sacramento, my dad gave me another hand-me-down, which is a 2004 Toyota Corolla. So I was always gladly wished, just like, I'll take it. It gets me from A to B. That's fine. And so I didn't really have the means anyway to buy a car, or didn't care to. So anyway, so I bought a car.
Nice.
And it was weird because I was judging myself, and I was thinking that some close friends would judge me too, like, oh, why do you need a car? But the reactions were the complete opposite. All of the people that are in my life, they're like, oh, finally, they're saying, finally, you're in a safe car. Like, finally, you get to do this for yourself. Very cool. One person's response, and I won't say who this is, called it like, oh, that was kind of like a splurge, like kind of just like a backhanded like comment about like, well, that's kind of a splurge, but and whatever. I was just like, okay, cool. But people are just weird, and that one comment alone is not why this topic came up, but it's just like an example of people can be weird about money. I see it all the time, like in the news, like people get offended or feel weird about how other people spend their money. And so that was me, like, oh my God, like, do I like, for like a split second, and then it quickly went away. But I was kind of like, are people going to judge me for buying a new car? Is that like, and I'm like, wait, no, people do this all the time. It's cool. But it was just something that I wasn't used to spending money on. So for myself, I thought like it was irresponsible, to spend this money that I did have. Right. Sure. But people have different opinions on how you should utilize your money. And I see in the news sometimes, like, for example, I don't know, this is just one example. Like, I think like Kylie Kardashian was showing off, or Kylie Jenner, excuse me, was showing off some car, or I don't know, something crazy expensive and fancy, as she's, a Jenner Kardashian. And people just like went nuts on her. Like, how dare you spend this money, and people are dying. And in my head, I'm like, well, that's her money. And I'm just like, no matter how she got it, it doesn't matter how people think that, how she received it or she didn't earn it or whatever. But people get so weird about how other people spend money. I don't know. So it just kind of sparked this whole, like, I see it all the time. And I'm always like, you guys calm down. Like, how is that? I never understood when other people get like, jealous or lash out publicly or privately or behind their back about other people. Like, how can they afford that? Like, how can they spend that? It's like, is that, to me, I'm like, is that hurting your life? I don't understand why it's affecting your life. What's the problem?
Sure.
So anyway, that was just, so when I bought my car, that was just me like judging myself at first. And of course, which is silly, but it's just people are very weird about money. I don't know. So I just wanted to talk about it for a few minutes. I didn't know what you think or what your thoughts were about it, because people have like a way of like, oh, like you should invest or you should spend it on, live life, spend it on experiences, YOLO, or you should put it in a college fund. And people have, I don't have kids. So people, of course you have kids and you want to put it to your kids' college fund. There's ways to allocate your money. But for some reason, people are like, if you talk about it with someone, oh, this is what I'm doing with my money. Not that it's anyone's, business, but if you're talking to a friend, it's weird if they're like, no, you shouldn't do that with your money. And it's like, okay, well, people just get really weird around money. I don't know. I feel like no one talks about it, or at least I haven't heard anyone talk about it. So I thought we would talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have any thoughts.
Okay.
No, can you imagine?
I know.
What a horrible episode.
You're like, no, that's it. I'm good. Okay. Well, then here I go. I'll keep talking.
Look at that. It's like you haven't been gone. You handled that incredibly well. I thought I was going to get a better reaction. So I have plenty of thoughts. What's that?
I was just going to keep going then. I was like, okay.
I know. Well, see, that's she really hasn't talked to anybody for a long time. She's like, he's not going to interrupt. Perfect. I'll keep going. No, come on. I have plenty of thoughts.
Let's hear it.
No.
Thank God.
I agree. I think it is a weird thing, and I think, you could probably look at it from different perspectives, and obviously I have a lot of thoughts about what you said. First of all, congrats to you. That's awesome. We already had this conversation through text, but that's awesome that you were able to do that. I will say, when we were recording in person, I definitely knew which car was yours because there was a fat dent on the back bumper, and it's like, yeah, either Deb hit someone on the way here and the cops are going to come pick her up in the middle of our podcast, or she got angry like she's mentioned before, and instead of punching a window, she punched the back of her car. I don't know what the deal was, but I'm like, oh, there's this fat dent. I knew exactly which car yours was every time. Yeah. So it's like, oh, good, she's here. Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things with money. It's, I don't know, I think it's people get weird about it, I think, for a couple of different reasons. I think one, people get weird about it because it is, you can say whatever you want about how important money is to you, or if it's super important or it's not important. I think the bottom line is, for us as humans, especially in the US, like, it is an important piece of our lives, right? Like when you get a raise at your job, it can potentially be a huge deal for you and your family or whoever. If you get a job that pays way more than your previous job, like it's a big deal. And so, it does have an effect on like how much money you have, or how much money you're able to save, or how much money you have to spend. I think all of those things do affect people's lives, and potentially in a big way, right? Like, obviously with this pandemic, people losing jobs means that they don't have any income coming in, and that has like catastrophic effects for some people and their families. So I think with money, it is a really important thing. And then it's like, beyond that, like how much importance you place on it kind of depends on each person, right? Like, you have some people that are maybe more minimalists that don't really need a whole lot and don't spend that much money. You have some people that, like, money burns holes in their pockets all the time. And then you have some people that are kind of in the middle. So I think it's just because it's it does tend to be a really important part of a person's life. And it in some ways it determines what they're able to do, what they're able to, afford, how they're able to live in some ways. Now, again, I'm not saying that it equates to happiness. by any means. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, like, if you have a certain job that pays a certain amount of money, then that allows you to purchase certain types of things, right? Whether they're good purchases or good investments, like it just gives you that opportunity. And if you have a lower level job, then you can't hit a certain level. And if you have a higher level job, then you have like this, even wider range of things that you can buy or you can afford. So, I do think that because it is an important piece of our lives and what we do, I do think that people hold on to it pretty tightly. And I think their thoughts about it, and here's the thing too, and I know this as a parent now, people, like online, whether it's a blogger or someone online, they just want to give advice about stuff. So it's like not even just money stuff, but it's like, you'll post a picture of your child and they're like, oh, have you thought about doing this? Don't need to, we're good. But thank you for that suggestion. You know what I mean? But like anybody and everybody, just because they feel like they have this common connection with you, it's like, I'm sorry, what's your name again? I don't even know who you are. Like, why are you giving me advice? You're not part of like my family or this close circle of people that I trust. Why would I take advice from you? But they hear, oh,
or did I ask you?
Yeah, exactly. None of that happened. And they're like, oh, but we're parents. We're both parents. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that connection meant that you can give unsolicited advice. Oh, it doesn't mean that at all. I'm sorry. But, I think, for some people, I don't know, there's probably a lot of different reasons. Some people, I think there's probably like a jealousy element to it. Like I think they wish they had more, especially when you look at celebrities. I think it's like, oh, they would love to be there. And that's the funny thing with anything that involves celebrities, athletes, anybody at those higher echelons of money. It's like, if we were real, for a lot of people that are online bashing them, if the roles were flipped and they had that much access and that much money, they would probably be making some dumb decisions too. They would probably be spending money on a really like an outlandish car. They might be, it's like, do you need a fifth house? Not really, but they would probably do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. But the reason they don't is because it's like a fantasy to them, right? It's like something they wish. If they had it, it'd be different. It's like, oh, I would spend it differently. Well, would you? Would you spend it differently? I don't think so. Like, I think you would probably do some outlandish things too, but you just don't have it. And so since you're looking upwards at someone who does have it, it's almost like this fantasy land you're living in. It's like, if I had that, I would do this, and they're using it wrong. And so I think there's a lot of different reasons why people think that way. But yeah. And, it's always, when you first brought this topic up to me, my first thought was when it comes to like generosity and how much money you have. And you do see a lot with celebrities where you might have someone say, this actor or actress gives $500,000 to some relief fund for a disaster or some kind of charity. $500,000 is a lot of money for most people, right? But you look online and they're like, couldn't it have been $1 million? What? Couldn't it have been 2 million? Oh, you make this much. Why can't you? The bottom line is they gave a lot of money to an organization that needed it. So does it really matter how much they gave? Like, no, they gave, they gave a lot of money. Now, I would also ask the question, did you give to that same organization? I would hope so, because even if you can't give $500,000, if you're not being generous with what you have, then I have a tough time hearing you or seeing you criticize someone else for their generosity. Here's the thing too, their generosity could just be a publicity stunt. It doesn't matter because the organization is still getting the money that they're donating. So they may not care about that organization at all. I'm sure there's so many celebrities and rich people that do that just because it looks good. And it's like, oh, look at how much they gave, right? And in some ways, does it really matter? Like, I personally don't think so, because the organization is still benefiting from it. Yeah. Like, sorry, I know I'm talking a lot. Like I said before, I was joking. I have plenty of thoughts. But, I'm a big Green Bay Packer fan. I love Aaron Rodgers, even though there's a lot of nonsense going on. It's not a sports podcast, but whether or not he's going to be with the Packers this year, a lot of drama there. A lot of the stuff that came out about him recently, it happened when my second daughter was born. It's like, I don't have time to deal with this. I have a newborn. Rodgers, why are you doing this to me? I can't spend my time online trying to figure out where you're going to go next. It was very frustrating, but But anyways, back when, so he's from the Northern California area, specifically like the Chico Butte area. And you remember a few years ago, there was those massive fires.
Mm-hmm.
So the massive fires, and he had was raising money for that organization. It was like Butte Strong, putting it out there on Twitter and Instagram saying, hey, I'm trying to raise money for this cause. Right. And so, I forgot what organization it went to, but it was basically like a Butte County relief fund, which is awesome. And you're a fan of The Bachelor. I don't know if you remember his brother was on The Bachelor, and the beef in that family kind of became a thing on that season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette. And, it was obviously they had some issues. Well, when Aaron Rodgers posted about this on Twitter, his brother Jordan came out and was saying, oh, but you didn't check on your family, and this is just all a scam. Like, not a scam, but it's like, you're just doing this for publicity, saying all these things. And my thing's like, dude, like, I know I'm biased, but at the same time, if you step back and look at that situation, he's raising money for a cause that really needs it, that desperately needs the funds to help build their community. Doesn't matter if it's a publicity thing. Doesn't matter if he's doing it simply to make himself look good. He's raising money, and for you to come in and try to downplay what he's doing and say that's all fraud, like, if you are able to discourage people from giving, you're really hurting the community that the money is going to, rather than your brother. He does not care, but you're hurting the community that the money is going to. But again, it's like this whole money thing. It's like you're missing the point of generosity. And so I think, like I said, for me, it's just, you're right. It's a weird thing. People get weird about it, and people are very opinionated. And I think where I have an issue is that you might be opinionated, but then when it comes to generosity, are you willing to give? Are you still donating to these causes? Are you willing to give time and effort to these things? Oh, you're not? Oh, that's weird, because you're very critical of people that have been doing those things and have been giving money. It's just bizarre to me. It's bizarre.
Right. Well, and not everyone knows everything behind a person, no matter what status they are, celebrity or not, in terms of like how much they make, what money is going to where. Maybe they are giving, maybe they are spending, and again, it's no one's business, but people are super quick to judge. One of my exes, I know I talk about my exes a lot in here. I don't think they listen, but one of my exes,
they might. We've talked about this before. We had somebody gave us a 1-star review. We don't know if it was one of Deb's exes, but there's potential that it could have been, and so they might listen. Go ahead.
Right. I mean, it's too late now, but one of my exes would get really like upset seeing someone like spend a lot of money or go on a lavish whatever vacation or whatever. People that we personally knew, he would immediately judge, like, how do they have money to do that? And in the back of my mind, I'm like, A, I don't care. B, why do you care? And C, how is that hurting us? I could never, it was never a conversation I could have with him. It was just, he immediately went to that. And I know it's because he wished that we had, he had the money, that, we had the money, whatever. And so, but he would always get really weird about it. And so that was my first like run in with someone that I knew that was close with, who was super weird about money and how other people spent money. And I never understood that. And for a little bit, I started thinking that way too, just because I was around his comments so much. And I was like, I just kind of jumped on the bandwagon for a little bit. I don't know. I'm just like, cool. Like, I'm going to root for you. Like, I don't understand. And then, then quickly, obviously now I do not agree at all. It's like, I'm just kind of focusing on what I can do for myself. And here's another thing. Sorry, I'm jumping from micro topic to micro topic, but and this is considered rude probably, but I will ask someone, hey, how much was that? Or like, a lot, like if they bought something nice, and it's not to judge them, but it's to like, can I buy that too? Like, what do I need to do to get, to buy that or whatever? Like, I'm just curious. And then, if they tell me, once they do, after they look at me funny, I'm just in my head, I'm like, okay, so dang it. Okay. So I need to like do the X, Y, and Z to try to get, so like, I'm almost like, it almost like motivates me. Like, oh my God, like you got that. Okay. One day I want to do that. Yeah. And a lot of people, instead of going in that direction, which I highly recommend, because it just like, it motivates you. Like I'm right now, I'm in a position to like, buying myself a car, like finally, like looking at my watch, like in my 30s, I have, high school kids who are going into college who saved up the money and they have a brand new car too. But like, I'm just barely getting to do it, which is fine. Like we're all at different journeys, but I'm willing to, okay, look at that. That's what I want. All right. It might take me X amount of years, but I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it, instead of being angry or jealous or upset that I don't have it. It's like, how is that? That's not going to help me. And so so I saw that firsthand and I just never understood it. And it always made me sad, because it's like, well, that's not helping you. So, but I think a lot of people do that. And I think that's when you see a lot of people lashing out at celebrities online. Sure. It's like, dude, how's that affecting your life? Like, is that taking away from your money? Like, just because someone's making millions of dollars it's not taking money away from you. Or at least, I don't know. I'm not a financial whiz. I know nothing. FYI, anyone listening, I am not a professional at finances at all. I don't. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible at math on top of that. So yeah, I don't know. It's not good. Yeah. But yeah, no, I get that. And I think what you said too makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of it I think if you were to look at different situations where people feel this way, or like as far as your ex, what they said or how they felt towards other people doing it, I do think a lot of it is a interpersonal, intrapersonal thing, where they're looking at themselves and the situation they find themselves in life and the season that they're at, probably wishing, like if you're just trying to make ends meet and you see friends or family buying expensive things and they're not struggling, I do think that would be, for some people, that's the driving force behind their irritation, right? I think it's almost like, I don't know, they could say like, oh, it just seems like a waste of money. Well, for you it would be a waste of money because you're having a tough time paying your bills. But for that person, it's not a waste of money because they're in a really comfortable place and they can afford it. But that's not, I don't think that's how people see it in the moment. It just feels like if I had that much money, I would do this, this, and this. Right. But that's because you have to in your situation, right? Like you have much more important things that you need to handle because of where you're at. And I think that's probably the driving force for a lot of it. And I think, just to be honest, I think some people are just nosy. Like I think some people are just nosy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, why would you do that? Like you said, I mean, I think it's gonna be like maybe that should be the name of the episode. Like, why do you care? You know what I mean? Why do you care about that? Because it really shouldn't matter. Because my thought has always been like, I have more important things to worry about than why Deb bought a new car. I don't care. I'm excited for you. Like, I mean, that was just an example. Can you imagine if I was like off air telling my wife, it's like, can you believe that Deb bought a new car? Can't like I bet you,
that's right.
Yeah. Driving all over the place, not showing up for shows. Jeez, what
exactly.
She should have bought it. She should have bought a better mic stand instead of 3 freaking books. All this stuff, you know what I mean? But
exactly.
No, but like, it's just obviously, as a friend, super excited for you. But like for other people that I'm not friends with, it's like, I mean, it doesn't matter. Now, like I'd be lying. Sometimes you see people purchase something. It's like, like here's the thing. There's some people and you kind of have an idea of their financial situation, and then you see them buy something. It's like, that seems questionable. Don't care. It's not my business. But like, it does seem like that maybe. And then I'm just going to say this.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. The one exception I will say, I don't care what people do with their money. The one issue I do have is if someone is constantly complaining about not being able to afford things or how difficult things are, and then you see them do something with their money that goes against all the things they complain about all the time, that drives me nuts, because it's like, I hear you complain all the time and you have like an easy solution. Not my business. We're not close enough for me to mention that, but that's where it gets annoying. It's like, I feel like if you fixed your issue and you didn't spend it over here, you could fix your issue over here, and then I wouldn't have to hear your complaints. Just being honest, like I wouldn't have to hear this nonsense. So I will say that's one time when I think someone talking about money will drive me a little bit crazy. And I'll be honest, I'm probably a little judgmental, because it's like, do whatever you want. It has nothing to do with how you spend it. It has more to do with the complaining that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that just drives me nuts.
Oh yeah. Oh, I agree. I agree that and there's lots of exceptions for sure. That's one of them though. Absolutely. It's like, that's annoying. And it's
yeah, but it'd be like if you and I were closer friends. So say, for example, like you used to have roommates, right? So if you and your roommates, like if I was one of your roommates and like all the time you were talking about how much you hated your car and you hated your car, like I need a new car, oh, I hate a new car, but you just weren't willing to spend the money to buy one. It's like, but we knew you had plenty of money to buy a car. It's like,
Yeah.
please just buy a car because you're complaining so much. So like it's on both sides. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it really for me is the complaining piece of it. When I know you have the means or the solution to the problem, you just like to complain about it. It's like what are we doing? You can afford a car, so stop complaining about it, or you know what I'm saying? Like it just drives me nuts. That's I think it has nothing to do with money really. It has more to do with the complaining about whatever the topic is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because everyone's in charge of their own life. And so, you know what I'm saying? Them being in charge of whoever's complaining, it's like, okay, well then either stop complaining or try to do something about it, or be patient and wait until you do make more money to do that, or just do the thing for sure. Yeah. Right. So that's totally, I get that. And then, and just the other, and another micro topic about money is, what does happiness mean? Can money buy you happiness? Like, what does that mean in terms of like, what does it mean to really be rich? Like a lot of people, I see you say the word rich and you think immediately money. And some people think like, no, like rich in life, like the things you have and the things you do. I know many people that spend their money differently, and like, we'll talk about it, and, no judgment on my part. And some people want to, put, after paying the bills and everything, the leftover money they have, they want to put it all in savings, which I'm all for. Or they want to put it all in investing, Bitcoin or whatever, what have you. I don't know anything about that. So that's all I'm going to say about that.
You wanted to throw it in there to seem like you did.
What?
You just wanted to seem like relevant. It's like, and Bitcoin. I noticed how you just toss it in
there.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all that's the only thing that came to me right now.
Bitcoin, that's all I know. I know the name. I know nothing about it.
Yeah, that's it. I know nothing. So they'll put all the money, all the money in there, and that's important to them is investing. And I have heard people say like, oh God, you got to invest, da, 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 da. And I'm like, okay. And I take what people say to me with a grain of salt, and I genuinely take it as I try to take what everyone unsolicited or solicited, or if I ask for it, I take everyone's opinion and then I just make a decision for myself. But, they'll say invest it. Or I have some people saying, no, like you got to have experiences. You need to, of course, after taking care of your bills, like go spend your money, like save it or spend your leftover money on like go on trips, go do this, go explore. Like you don't build a savings, which is total, like whatever, cool. I've had moments where I'm like, YOLO in terms of like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So I'm going to do this thing, like as long as I can do it and be and afford it at the end of the day, and I can bounce back. Okay. So no judgment on that part, and exploring and getting out in the world is cool too, if you can do that. And then of course, there's many ways of how people want to be quote rich, saying it in quotations, rich with their money in terms of being rich with life. So, yeah. So it's been interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure what is aligning with me lately, but I've been like for the past few months, like been getting bits and pieces from different people of like how they spend their money and what they do with it. And for some reason I've been needing to hear it or something. I don't know, but it's been on my mind lately with what people do with their money. And it's very interesting. And how people will say, yeah, you shouldn't do that with your money. I'm like, okay, I just met you.
yeah, exactly. Well, it's weird when people say like you should or shouldn't, like you said, especially when they're not asking. It's like, it'd be like, it has such a different feeling if they say, hey, have you considered doing this, right? Because then it's like they're asking your opinion on it rather than saying, oh, you should do this. Should I? I may have a problem with people saying that too. Maybe I just have a rebellious in me. I don't know. But no, and I think, but it's interesting what you say too, because I think, I've known people that have said the same thing that you were talking about, where it's like, hey, some people are like, hey, just, go out and you just live your life, and you only live once, and you're not promised tomorrow. So they look at it that way, and that's perfectly fine. And then like you said, other people, like, no, they're more frugal, and they want to plan now for the future, right? For whatever that may be, for their family or for themselves. But again, it's a completely different thing. Like, I think it really depends on where you're at in life. And I think the more people can understand that about other people and themselves, the easier it is to, if it is someone who's having a tough time with this, like how people spend their money, and if they're just, it really bothers them. I think you have to consider those things. Like, where is each person at in life? For example, like you said, there's been moments for you where you're like, hey, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go on this trip, or I'm going to spend it on this thing. That's awesome. Now, if we're talking like right now, if you chose to do that, that's great for you because of the position you are in life. If I chose to do that, there are greater consequences because of the place that I'm at in life, right? Like, there's more people, specifically my kids, that don't have any ability to make those decisions on their own right now. So like me and my wife are responsible for making those decisions for them. So that's not saying that we'll never have moments where it's like, yeah, let's just go for it with this purchase, or, you know what I mean? But there's another element. So it's not like I can just say, I can't have the exact same mentality as you. You also shouldn't have my mentality, because we're at two separate places in life. And it would be silly for you to have that same mentality that I have, right? Because some of the things that I have to worry about, you don't have to worry about. But see, some of the things you have to worry about, I don't have to worry about. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing. It's a different thing.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah, no, for sure. And just another like comparison thing of like spending money, you know, it's over the years. I'm a huge apartment liver, like I don't live. How do I say this? I love living in apartments. I don't
Apartmenter?
Huh? Apartment renter? It's Josh, it is 9:10. It's past my bedtime. That's when my brain stops working. You know this.
Did you
apartment renter?
Did you bring this?
Just wanted to make up new words.
I was like, I didn't even say apartment renter. I said apartmenter. Like,
as soon as I said it, I was like, okay, yes, apartment renter. Thank you. This is what you're here for.
Did you come on this podcast just to like basically show off how much money you have? Is that what this is? Like, I bought a new car.
Oh, yeah.
I buy all kinds of apartments. I knew it. This was a big flex.
Yeah. My $20 decorative designs behind me. Yes.
Yeah, and it was like a $25 mic.
Huh? Oh, my $25 mic.
Is that how much it was? Like a $25, $30?
No, I think so. No, it was pretty like, it was like a solid like 20.
Nice.
Like,
we're really, we're really
could have bought me 4 or 5 Starbucks coffees, but I bought this mic. So
that's true. That's true. Sorry, go ahead.
So, I'm an apartment renter living in an apartment. Anyway, so that's just my jam. I'm comfortable living in apartments. I love the small spaces. Anyway, you know, single or not, throughout the years, I've had a lot of people either criticize or question me, saying like, why don't you just buy a house? Like, what, you're spending all this money on rent, which I totally understand the justification of, here's apartment rent way up here, but if you just buy a house, it's the same thing, and then you can pay it off. I totally get it. Totally. You know, in terms of that, like monetary wise, right? So listen, so, you know, so like, oh, you're spending all this much money on rent for an apartment, why don't you just buy a house? And then for me, so I get that a lot, and I'm always having to justify myself. At least I choose to justify it. I don't have to. And I'm always like, you know what? It's sorry, but it's convenience for me. Like, and especially, you know, I've been single for a long time now. And so it's like, I don't want to take care of a yard. I feel more safe when I honestly like having a neighbor immediately next to me. I don't mind sharing a wall with someone. There's many reasons for it. And so, and again, even up until now, moving into this place, not a ton of people, and honestly, not even any of like my close friends, but people just like, you know, why doesn't she just buy a house? You know, thinking they want to help me, like, oh, let me help you look for a house. I'm like, no, I don't want a house. Well, buy a condo. No, I don't want to buy anything. I just want to rent an apartment.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's why sorry, not to cut you off, but like, that's what I'm saying. People, it's weird because people, I really believe that people are trying to be helpful. They want to help.
Yeah.
But I don't think they realize that it comes off as annoying. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, or pushy or nosy. Because really, like, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But again, that might just be my personality. Like, I understand that too. There's a personality thing there. I'm not going to, like, you didn't tell me how much your car costs. Don't care. I don't even know what kind of car you have. Like, that's how little I care. Like, I'm excited that you got a car. I know nothing about it because it's like, that's awesome. You got a car. Like, the rest of it doesn't matter to me. maybe it's because I'm not like a car guy. Like, I know
Lamborghini.
if you got a
It's
Lamborghini,
bright
then
red.
I would definitely judge you. I'm like, first of all, hey, good job in buying your Lamborghini. Maybe we'll put a little more effort into the podcast, huh? Maybe why did you buy a $25 mic, and why are you stacking your mic on top of books? That'd be a different conversation. But it's like, oh, that's cool. You could have rented a studio space or something, but
Right.
that's fine. Use it selfishly. That's fine. Did you get a new cup?
No, but what?
You get a new cup?
Oh, yeah. This is my new cup.
Oh, look at that.
Watching on YouTube. It's from Costco. See,
Yeah,
I'm a big spender.
Yeah.
It's got a handle and it's got a straw. It's my favorite. I have another one in white, just like this.
I'll tell you this.
And it fits in my car cup holder. It fits in the cup holder in my car. It's like life is good.
I would say if a Costco cup doesn't say that Deb's balling right now, I don't know what does. Yeah.
I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
I'm high up there.
Yeah.
On that scale. No, but so again, I feel like in the this current move, I've just, my friends know me at this point. And so my friends will tell other removed friends for me, like I don't even have to, they're like, no, she doesn't want a house. Like we know her. This is more convenient. I love the amenities here. I love how there's a pool. I love there's a gym here. All right. Like I have so many reasons why right now in my life, I love apartment living, and people get so crazy. How much are you paying for rent? And I'll tell them if I feel comfortable telling them, if whatever, I don't care. And
you should lie. I would lie.
I
like
should just like
$100, like $100.
Oh, $100.
Like, well, she's a pretty good investor. This is a good. Idea.
At this point, if I'm gonna lie, I'm gonna like up it. I'm gonna say it's 3 times more than what I'm paying right now.
$5,000. That's normal, right?
Let that sink in and blow their minds for a second.
It's crazy. I don't know if you get up to like El Dorado Hills very often, but in that town center they have those new apartments. Have you seen those? Have you been? You know what I'm talking about?
On the hills? On the hills?
No. You know where the movie theater is in El Dorado Hills?
Oh yeah.
And there's that town center strip.
Well, okay, I haven't been there in a while, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there used to be this this kind of blank lot, like empty lot, and maybe over the last couple of years they built up these like luxury apartments, crazy nice. It has like a spa inside, fitness center. Like it's not just like it's not just like a standard. I don't even know if you would consider them apartments. They might be like condos, but they're crazy nice. So I'm surprised you weren't aware of them, Moneybags.
I mean, that was gonna be my next pick. So
that was your next pick.
That was like on number 2 on the list. If I got rejected here, but yeah, and it's
got rejected. You're too rich for us. We can't accept you here.
What?
You're too rich for this apartment. We can't accept you here. Go up the hill.
Exactly. You make too much money.
You make too much money.
My Costco fines. I make too much money. Yeah. So anyway, the basis of this like topic was, and no one personally towards me have been weird to me about money. It just is something that I've been thinking about lately because I just brought it upon myself. I was judging myself for a second. I judge myself way more than I judge other people, FYI. A lot of people probably do that. We're our own worst critics. Yeah. And so for a second, I'm like, oh my God, I should do this with my money instead. Why am I going to buy a new car? Like my car I have is perfectly fine. I'm just like justifying all these things. And so it just got me thinking like, wow, people are really weird with money because I'm being very weird with my own money right now. Like, judging myself and just experiences of watching other people judge other people spending their money. And I'm over here like, who cares? Let them, that's their money. Let them do it. That's not yours. They can do whatever they want with that money.
Yeah.
It's weird. Well, and just, there's a whole, I don't care to get into it and I don't know enough about it, but I know there's a whole like political, like direction people can go in with money, but just directly speaking of like people, like your personal money and spending things on your personal self, I think people are just weird about it.
No, I completely agree. No, I think it's just one of those things. Well, maybe that's part of it too. Maybe there's a lot of people that have a similar, have that thing that you're mentioning for yourself where, how you spend money and you just automatically assume, or think that other people are thinking certain ways about you. And then so you
Yeah.
start thinking
Yeah.
about how other people are spending money, and you just put a lot of time and effort into it when really you should be, just focusing on
Yeah.
yourself. Well, we even posted
Mm.
yesterday on our Instagram page a quote, because we just post random quotes that I just like and I think people would find value in. But it was something like, um, I forgot exactly what it was. Something about like I'm too busy working on my own grass to worry about if yours is greener. Something like that.
Yeah.
The whole idea being,
I loved it. Yeah.
yeah, and I think I mentioned that too. I like this seems like something that Deb would enjoy. It seems like I feel like you've said something similar to that. But
Yeah.
the whole idea of being, you just got to focus on your own stuff, and that's
Right.
how you're going to be like. So really, if you want to get gain more money and get richer, like you're not going to be able to do it by focusing on everybody else's business. You're going to have to handle your own business and figure out how to get there yourself. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, I mean, like, to sum it up, I know it is just it is a weird thing. I don't know if I can pinpoint it. We definitely can't pinpoint it on this podcast, but I'm sure someone else out there has done the research. I know, before I got married, a mentor of mine was talking to me and saying that, hey, just so you're aware, obviously when it comes to marriages, different things can happen, different problems can occur, different stresses and all that. He said, but like the three things that typically lead to some of the biggest issues is kids, sex, and money. Like those three things are, not saying that those are the three things that are always going to cause problems in a marriage. He said, but if you're looking for like the big three, typically one of those three is the cause of it. And so, obviously him mentioning money makes a lot of sense. I think, especially in the context of a marriage, obviously on the show, you've shared that you have been married before. I'm currently married. And I don't know for you if that was ever an issue. For us, it's not really hasn't been too much of an issue. We're kind of the same mindset when it comes to how money is spent. So it's a huge
That's good.
It's a great thing for sure, because I know other people that are not on the same page, and you hear some uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
It's like, but again, because people are, like you said, people are weird about money. It does cause more tension, because I think it's like you said, it is very similar to, in some ways, very similar to like how people get fired up over politics. And when when they have differences of opinions on politics, kind of the same thing with money. Like I think people feel really strongly about it. And here's the thing too. I think maybe it's like a whole nother thing, but like I think in the context of a marriage or a relationship where two people are bringing money to the table, like right, two incomes being brought into the bank account. I think there's part of the problem is that there's this sense of ownership over what you're bringing into the situation or into the relationship. And so I think if you feel like the other side is mismanaging it somehow, then it almost becomes like, well, this is kind of my money and this is what I'm bringing. So I want us to be able to manage this correctly. And if the other side feels like, well, this is my money, and I feel like we're mismanaging it, then it almost becomes like a personal thing, right? It's not like, hey, this is our money. It's like, no, we're each contributing here. So we each have an equal say in how this should be spent. And if we disagree, there's a massive issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever watch Everybody Loves Raymond?
Yeah.
There's a whole episode dedicated to that topic. It was like, Deborah's the housewife and Raymond, makes the money. And at one episode, he said, it's my money. And it was like all over, like the whole episode was about that. And it was really funny, but of course they turn it into humor and kind of a life lesson type deal thing, Sure. But well, and I get it because I get why people are weird about money, because money is how you live. It's your livelihood. It's money. Unfortunately, it just makes the world go round. Like it just is, it's transactional. It's, so I get why people are weird about it. I just think that if a lot of people on a personal level could relax about how other people are spending their money personally, it's like, if just that will take a lot of your own stress away. I feel bad for people who get all amped up about how other people are spending their money. It's like, okay, just calm down, worry about yourself. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, and I think it comes back to, it probably does come back to because I think we've talked about it before. I think it ties back into like a self-worth thing too. Like I think if you have a healthy self-worth, if you have a healthy outlook on yourself, on what you do, on your job, on your life, I think if you have a really solid foundation and a healthy outlook, and you're confident in those things, then I think it's not going to hit you in the wrong way. Right. I don't think it's going to bother you. I don't think the money thing, how other people spend their money, is going to make you feel weird. But I really do think it comes down to like how you are and where you're at mentally, emotionally, maybe spiritually for certain people, like whatever it may be. Like I think, the better you are, the more you're not, or the less you're going to care about what other people are doing. I think when you're not in a great place, I think you do start looking outwardly towards things that you wish you had, money being one of them. And then it starts to bother you if you see people doing things differently than you would. But yeah, it's a strange thing. And it's even kind of tough to talk about because I think there's a lot of different ways you can go with it. And I think there's not, I think we could say, hey, this person is probably not happy with their life. That's probably why they are critical of people with money. Right. But there might be someone else like, no, I'm pretty happy with life, but I'm still critical about other people and the way they use their money. So like, it's a whole nother thing over there. You know what I mean? So there's probably different reasons for it, but I've always felt like it's probably something that's more reflective of how their thinking is and where they are, in their own personal life. But, maybe it's just, maybe you and I just like, maybe we're the weird ones. Like maybe we just don't care and we should care more. I don't know.
I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know.
I don't know. Exactly. That's just my motto of the day. At the end of the day, when I go to bed at night, it's, I don't know. And I'm okay with it. So, but yeah, this, the topic of money obviously can go in a billion different directions, but I think I got it off my chest of what I wanted to talk about. And I don't know. I guess I just wanted to make a PSA about relax and just don't worry about what other people are doing with their money and you'll be okay. And it's not to say that like, I'm a teacher, you guys. I don't have like millions of, obviously I'm a millionaire. I go to Costco. Here's my cup. But there have been times where my coworker and I, it's at the end of the month. We haven't gotten paid yet. We look at each other. We're like, all right, lunch is on you. How much money do you have? And we literally both open our bank accounts and like, I'm like, I got $1.08. How much you have? And she's like, crap, I got 48 cents. We're like, crap. Like, we've been there many times, embarrassingly enough. So, just in terms of like, I get what it's like to, panic and have nothing, but it doesn't help if you panic when you have nothing and then you panic and then you are also mad at other people for having money. It does not help. So anyway, my own personal, cause I've been, I've been there. So, but anyway, there's my PSA. Relax about money. Just calm down.
That's great. No, I think that's a good thing. Well, I just wanted to piggyback off that just a little bit. I know we're going to try to wrap this thing up, but that's interesting what you said, when you're looking at your own bank account. And if you see, so say for example, again, this is my PSA again about complaining. I have an issue with complaining. I don't know what it is. Maybe we should talk about that one episode. That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
We have a solo episode next week too. So maybe that's what we'll talk about. I don't know.
That's what we'll talk about, complaining.
No. So like if you say, for example, Deb, if you took a trip and you knew it was gonna be a super expensive trip, but you wanted the experience, awesome. No one should judge that. But now if you get back and you look at your bank account and you realize like you're in a tight spot, like maybe something goes wrong with your car, right? And now all of a sudden it's like, ooh, this is bad timing. Like you get back from your trip, your car breaks down, now you have to pay for this really expensive repair, and then you get frustrated. Maybe that's what some people do. It's like they find themselves they're irritated because they made some bad decisions financially. And then they find themselves in a tight spot, and now they're looking at other people who are able to spend money without any concern for those things. And then it's like maybe they're just mad at themselves with some of that stuff. It's like, it's just kind of like, I shouldn't have done that. But really, I'm gonna look at them and think, oh, they're spending this money, in a crazy way, and it's irritating. Well, you're not really irritated at them, are you? You're mad at yourself because you put yourself in a really bad situation. Now you're crying about it because you had control over the situation to a certain extent, and you just made a decision. It didn't turn out well. you kind of have to live with the consequences. You know what I mean? So like, that's my biggest thing. It's like, I think people are free to do whatever you want, whatever they want. And you can complain about it if you want to, if things go badly. I just don't want to hear it personally.
Yeah.
So maybe complain to someone else. Don't complain to Josh Takimoto. You know what I mean?
Don't complain to Josh.
No.
Don't complain to Deb either.
No. Yeah. Don't see. We're on the same page here. Especially, like I said, especially when you've made decisions that contradict. I just haven't. Like I said, I have an issue with that, because like you had control over this. Like, you didn't have to spend money on this or that, and you could have spent it on solving your problem, but you didn't. And so it's like, I can't feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for the people who are hustling. And like, when you have like a single, that's the thing too. Like, you have like a single mom, right, with like 2 or 3 kids, who's just hustling, doesn't complain, and is just hustling, trying to make. It's like, and you have these other people, it's like, oh, like, crying about certain things when they have more control over their situation. It's like, I think you need to readjust your perspective on life and what someone who really struggles is going through, because it's like, everybody has challenges, but like, there's some people that are really, grinding away, just to make it. You don't hear any complaints out of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
exactly. Maybe that should be a segue into the next one. Complaining.
Maybe. Part 2.
Part 2. Stay tuned, you guys, for the next one. Part 2. Josh and Deb talk about complaining.
Probably not. The more I say, like, us talking about complaining, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be a fun episode. So we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
We'll talk about it.
While you're gone, we started doing these top 5 episodes. Maybe we'll do one of those.
Oh.
Those are fun.
Oh, okay.
Basically, Jordan and I just did like a top 5 types of movie theater people that you encounter, and it was fun. We had some good ones for sure. So, but yeah, we started doing that. So, I did not talk to you about that first. Sorry, partner.
Who, me? Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, we're technically co-hosts and partners in this thing, but sometimes I just do things and I don't run it past Deb. So,
I mean, I got to listen to it still, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Okay, perfect. Oh, okay. One last thought. I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a connection suggestion today. Unless you have one that you want to do, I was just gonna skip it.
Yeah, we can skip it.
Let's skip it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did have this thought, because again, I've joked with people before, because it came up on a podcast before that. So people thought you and I were married. Now, the more I thought about that, have you ever thought about this? Because we joked and thought how ridiculous it is, because I've mentioned my wife multiple times. I feel like at least once an episode. The funny thing is, the person who said that, like, if this is what you think a marriage should look like, one, you have a very low standard.
Low bar.
This dysfunctional podcast that we run, very incredibly low bar. Or, you have you think that we're just, we just can't help but do a podcast together, and we just can't stop spending time with each other.
Right. Well, it's funny because we're obviously in separate rooms every time. It's hilarious.
That's what it's concerning. So like, the more I thought about that, I'm like, I should be more concerned about this person's perspective of what a relationship should look like, because this would not be it.
That's hilarious. My favorite quote was when Jordan said, "Oh, Deb, they thought you were married. Deb must have thrown up in her mouth." I about died when he said that.
That's my brother. Like, yeah, she probably did, man. Thanks for bringing it to my attention. So anyways, I had that thought the other day. I'm like, I just didn't think about it from that perspective. It's like, this person has an incredibly low bar for what it should look like. Probably not an ideal picture. It's like, we would definitely need counseling.
Okay, now we can joke about it. So
yeah. Oh, I do all the time. I tell my wife, I was like, I'm gonna go podcast with the other one.
With the other one?
Yeah, she's like, all right, dummy. Go enjoy your podcast. It's fun. So, well, welcome back, my friend. Congrats on the car, and enjoy. Keep enjoying your summer. I'll talk to you next week, but
yeah, I know, right? He'll text me tomorrow probably with ideas. So
maybe, yeah, probably. All right. On that note, you guys, we will see you next. Make sure you follow us on Connectable Podcasts on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Connectable Pod on Twitter. Please head over to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to the podcast, and please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We would definitely appreciate it. Don't give us a 1-star. Leave a mean comment on Instagram if you feel bad about our show, but don't leave us 1 star because that hurts my feelings. So on that note, we will talk to you guys later. See you.
Peace.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.